The following episode contains graphic content dealing with sexual assault, attempted murder, and the aftermath. May be disturbing to some listeners. This story is based on true events. Everything you are about to hear is found in police files, court transcripts, FBI evidence, news stories, and actual eyewitness accounts.
Just came flying around the corner and on a dirt road, and the lady's window was down and she's screaming, help me, and you could tell something was odd, and until she stopped, you didn't realize she was just caked in blood.
She rolled her window down. She appeared really upset, and she said that she had been stabbed.
I just know that my dad ran up to the car and my mom started screaming, get in the car, Jamie, get in the car. But that's what I remember. Went to the ranger station, and that's when all hell broke loose.
911 Sheriff's Department.
I'm up at the Palisades up in Mount Lemmon. We just found a girlfriend with us. She was taken by a guy with a gun, and a friend is still upstairs. The guy left. We were at Bear Wallow.
Okay, where's the girl now?
She's with us.
She's there at...
One of the girls
Palisades?
is with us. The other girl's up on the mountain. We heard a shot shortly after, and then this other girl stopped by.
Okay, calm down. What's your name, please?
My name is Patricia Wells. We drove down to Palisades to try and find help. The ranger station is closed, so I'm in the phone booth.
Okay.
It was the guy that was in it that did this to the woman is in a recent new...
Hold on a second. I should have an officer real close to you. Let me get him started. Stay on the phone, please.
Thank you.
The arrested man, Stephen Elvis Skaggs, was booked into the Pima County Jail on suspicion of attempted murder, sexual assault, and 2 counts of kidnapping.
I was shocked. I says, what are you talking about? How could they possibly arrest you?
And now the story about a blended family with a sordid past in my stepmom, Shirley. I'm Amanda Fallon, and this is the Shirley You Can't Be Serious podcast. Describe Skaggs. Like, what did he look like?
He had dark hair. He was about the same height as me. He wasn't real tall. He was under 6 foot, a little bit stocky, just average looking. Dark hair, dark eyes.
He was about 5'7" to 8. Dark, short hair, cut real close. He had really weird blue eyes.
Okay.
Actually, he lived about 3 houses away from me. He was in the military. Him and his wife and 2 kids bought a house, right down the street from me. And then his wife left. And we just got talking, and then we started dating. He was just really a nice person. He was fun to be with, so I felt very comfortable with him.
Tucson Medical Center, July 23rd, 1986, 10:45 hours.
All right, Sharon, a little while ago, I drove up to Mount Lemmon and picked you up and brought you down here to the hospital. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, so he grabbed you. What happened next?
He said, I want you to not make any noise and do exactly as I tell you.
Okay. And you have a raised area just adjacent to your eye on your temple area.
Yeah.
Is that where he hit you?
Yes.
What happened when he hit you?
He told me to be still, or otherwise he would kill her and come back and get me.
And did you listen to what he said?
Yes. I didn't make a noise until I heard the gunshot, and then I ripped my hand out of the handcuff and took off running. Then I thought I heard some talking down further to the right, and so I just hauled down that way. I just ran down and tried to stay as low as I could, out of sight, because I didn't know if he was after me.
We were just going up to have a nice hike on the mountain that day. We get out of the car, we walked down a little ways, we all walked down together. I started to walk down, and I'm probably 100 yards behind Jan and Fran. I hear this rustling behind me. I turn around and I see this red-headed girl, this terror on her face. I could just tell. And I asked her, I said, oh my God, are you all right? And she says, no. She says, there's a man up there and he's got my girlfriend.
So we got in the car and we went down to the ranger station. It was closed, so we went over to the phone booth and called the police.
Okay. Who made the call?
Patty Wells.
Sheriff's Department, July 29th, 1986.
Patricia Ann Wells. Time is now 11:53 hours. Date is the same. Is it all right if I call you Patty?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay. Patty, you went up on Mount Lemmon. Is that correct?
Yes.
And are you in a forested area?
I go back up to the car to get a beer and my cigarette. I closed the door and I hear a gunshot, and it was close. It was close. So I thought to myself, my gosh, people are even hunting up there. So I didn't think anything of it. So I continued to walk down the trail.
Describe to me what she looked like.
Okay, she was probably about 5'4". She had thicker, wavy-ish hair, shoulder length. I don't remember the color of her eyes, but I mean, she had a little camisole type t-shirt with a shirt over that.
All right.
And she had a real bad cut on her foot.
Okay, so she had no shoes on?
No shoes on.
Okay.
She had like 3 bracelets and a handcuff on, but she wasn't crying when I first saw her, but I could just see the terror in her eyes.
All right. Okay, Patricia? Patricia?
Hello?
Okay, who am I speaking with now?
This is Francis.
Where did Patricia go?
But Patricia went across the street because she's certified in CPR. She went across the street to help the girl who has been stabbed.
Okay, we've got medics on the way down there from Mount Lemmon.
But I don't know. You have to understand that I don't know any of these people. We picked up one girl because she was running towards us.
Mm-hmm.
This man picked up another girl. I don't know how, and he just yelled at me. But this man that just pulled up in at Palisades has a girl who has evidently been stabbed. I see her bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know?
Okay, like I said, I've got an ambulance coming down from Mount Lemmon. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay. And what did you notice about her appearance? Tell me what she looked like.
At the ranger station, when they brought her in, she was bloody from one end to the other. She was stabbed.
And did she say anything to you?
She was just glad I was okay.
Okay. Statement will be concluded. Time is 1:10, about 11:08 hours. Date is the same. Standard closure.
He liked to hunt. That was kind of his passion. He did a lot of flying, checking out different hunting places. And he was gone a lot, doing that. He loved to play baseball. He had friends at the military. He was fun to be around. He was very, very easygoing. We never had an argument. He was a very, very gentle man. He was never, ever forceful or aggressive or hurtful in any way to any of us ever. So this one day, he told me he was going to go up to Mount Lemmon. He had bought a new camera with a big lens and everything, and he liked to do photography. So he went up to Mount Lemmon, and he said he'd be back home for the baseball game that evening.
My name is Sharon Salem, and one day in July 1986, I was on Mount Lemmon with my family just for a joyride. My sister had broken her leg, and my son, it was a day off. We thought, okay, let's just go up there instead of going and working. We were just going to have some lunch. We used to go up there often, particularly when it snowed.
Hello?
Hi, is this Jamie?
Yes.
Hi, Jamie. My name's Amanda.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember. It's been a couple years. Just to refresh your memory, my stepmom was married to Stephen Skaggs, the guy that committed the crime that day. I wasn't there that day, but it has affected my life, just hearing about it. And you were there.
I've still got very clear images in my mind of that lady flying up in her car, just caked in blood. I mean, and the stab wounds in her back. I mean, I just very, very vivid. Mount Lemmon was one of my childhood places. We went up, every other weekend almost, it seemed like. It's got a special place in my heart, especially with my dad, So, we'd wake up and my dad would be like, it snowed, let's go, we're going to Mount Lemmon. I'd be like, sweet. We'd jump up and go up there and sled and then go eat a burger at the little, well, it burned down, but they had that little country bar right there that had wood shavings all over the floor and stuff. My dad used to take us in there and eat a burger, and he'd drink his beer and talk all his crap.
Because you were only 10 years old, and I remember you were driving up the mountain with your family.
Right. Well, I mean, we were already up there, so we were at like a picnic area, and I don't know exactly where it's at. It's before you get off, get up to the main 2 towns where it splits off to where you ski, or you can go down to where like the community is and stuff. At the top of that hill is a bunch of like picnic areas.
We were sitting there talking, and this blue car drives up, and There was a young person. I think she was probably in her, I don't know how old. Anyway, she told us, she rolled her window down. She appeared really upset, and she said that she had been stabbed and that tied up.
We were starting to pack up, and as we were starting to pack up, a car, like a 280Z or something, that's what I remember it looking like, because they were popular back then, just came flying around the corner and on a dirt road, and the lady's window was down, and she's screaming, help me, and she just, you could tell something was odd, and until she stopped, you didn't realize she was just caked in blood. Like, her face was matted in blood, her hair was matted in blood, and I don't remember what my mom said or what. I just know that my dad ran up to the car, and my mom started screaming, get in the car, Jamie, get in the car.
She was terrified, yes. But she had enough about her where I told my husband to get her out of the car. I said, you come with us, to get her out of the car and get her in the back seat. And she was talking the whole time saying, I have to help my friend.
But I remember my mom putting her in the middle of the back seat. We had like a station wagon type car, and pulling her shirt up, her back, like leaning her forward and pulling it up, and seeing knife stab marks, little stab marks. And my mom put, I don't remember what it was, if it was a towel or a blanket or something we had for our little picnic thing, and just kind of pushed down on it to stop the bleeding or whatever she did.
And we put a jacket on her, and I had a sense of urgency. We need to leave right away and find help for her, and besides, get away from that area. Just marks all over her back, and we put a jacket over her to help her with that when she was in the car. I mean, I can picture that, sitting there telling my husband to get her out of the car, put a jacket on her, and leaving quickly and to get help for her.
That's what I remember. Went to the ranger station, and that's when all hell broke loose. Helicopters came in. I think they medevaced her out, if I remember correctly, and interviewed us a little bit, and let us know that they had found her friend and brought her to the station. And that's pretty much the extent of what I remember visually, seeing in my head and experiencing. Now, could some of it be a little bit off? Yeah, but the majority of it's pretty imprinted in my mind.
And then thinking afterwards, my goodness, he could have run out of the woods and shot us. You don't, but you think of all that stuff after. But I hope I've been a little help. It's just, I'm old. Now, my 10-year-old son, he was with us, and it apparently, it did impact him, but we kind of went on with our lives.
There was just a lot of chaos. I just remember I was kind of in the background just watching what was going on. Again, I was so young. I don't even think I was in shock over the situation. I was more in shock over seeing all the blood. But to me, it was an emergency, and I don't know. I don't know that I was really focusing on what was going on, other than just being in amazement that all of this is really happening, and we were part of it.
When we dropped her off, we did know that he was caught, so that was really a comforting thing to know. So basically, after that, we went on with our lives. I'm just very happy we were there to help her. It happened so quickly, and we had to get away from there and get help for her. And then afterwards, when you go through something like that, you always kind of make your own scenario, like, oh my gosh, he had a gun. What if he would have run out of the woods, when we were sitting there helping her? It makes you think. I mean, even the fact that, how did we know that she was telling the truth? She could have been with someone else. I mean, it was just, you think of a lot of things after the fact. You react to help somebody, or you react to protect somebody, or you react to get yourself away from danger, and then you think about the consequences. You don't think about it when it's happening.
How freaking lucky is that?
Right?
I mean, what are the odds that everybody ran into somebody? I mean, holy. And just the fact that she was shot and stabbed, and she could drive her freaking car to us. I mean, that's amazing.
So anyway, I'm waiting. He's running late. they're calling from the baseball team saying, where is he? He's one of their stars. I mean, he was good at baseball, and they were losing. He said, where is he? Tell him to get over here. Then I get a call from him saying, Shirley, coming down from Mount Lemmon, I got arrested. There was a attempted murder up there, and the guy who did it looked like me, and so they arrested me, and I was devastated. I was totally and completely shocked when I got the news that he supposedly had raped and attempted to kill someone. I absolutely did not believe it. They took him to jail, and then I went to visit him, and he explained what happened. And like I said, well, they got the wrong man. They got the wrong one. And then I saw the picture in the paper of this other guy that they'd been looking for up there. And I said, that's the guy. Why aren't they looking for him? And I was positive that was the man who had done the murder. And I was constantly after, the police to check out this other man, which they didn't seem to be doing anything about. There is no way on the face of the earth I would have believed it. He, like I said, he was very, very good to me. He was very, very caring. And to think that he could do something like that was just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. But I was absolutely positive that Steve Skaggs did not hurt anyone. Absolutely positive.
Bond was set at $500,000 yesterday for Stephen Elvis Skaggs, 38, who was charged with abducting 2 women on Mount Lemmon Tuesday and raping and stabbing one of them. Sergeant Kathleen Brennan, a spokeswoman for the Pima County Sheriff's Department, said Skaggs is a master sergeant assigned to the 355th Component Repair Squadron at Davis.
I hired an attorney, and it went on for months, the preparation for the trial, and all this time I absolutely believed that he was innocent, completely. And then the day of the morning of the trial, I got a call from the attorney, and the attorney said he's going to plead guilty. And I says, what are you talking about? What do you mean he's going to plead guilty? He's not guilty. And he said, yes, he is. And I was absolutely devastated. I absolutely could not believe those words. So then I go to the trial that day, and that was just totally, completely devastating.
Your Honor, the state calls Sharon Warner. Do you see the man that accosted you at gunpoint on July 22nd in the courtroom today?
Yes, right there.
And what happened?
That's when he came up behind me and put his arm around my neck and a gun to my head.
And to listen to what happened, to see the girl that he had attacked. He had raped her, and then he had stabbed her numerous times in the back. I didn't see the pictures.
Okay, and you were facing him?
Yeah.
How long did you have his penis in your mouth? Do you remember?
Just long enough so he got an erection, it seemed like.
There were 2 girls he took on. He handcuffed one to a tree, and then he took the other one in the back where he, further down the trail, where he raped her and stabbed her.
Did you hear anything that was going on?
No.
So you were lying on your stomach, and he tied your hands up?
Uh-huh.
All right. By inside you mean he put his penis in your vagina?
Yeah.
When he was having intercourse with you, did he still have the gun in his hand?
I didn't want to look at him.
And when you heard the gunshot, what did you think?
I just assumed that he had shot her.
And then he ran off. And the one was able to break loose from the tree and get help, and they were able to get to the other girl, before she died of all the, wounds to her back. So they both survived.
The state calls to the stand Shirley Jean Skaggs. Okay, you heard what Sharon Warner testified to.
Uh-huh.
Does that conduct sound like something you've ever seen Mr. Skaggs ever do at your house?
No. I was thoroughly shocked when I heard that he had admitted to doing it. His nature is very gentle, very kind, very considerate, very loving, And for him to do something like that, which was terrible, there must have been so much turmoil and pain in him to ever hurt another person. I don't know.
And just because your husband is your husband, you wouldn't lie for him or anything like that?
No, I wouldn't.
And you still heavily support him, is that correct?
Yes, I told him I would stay with him through no matter what it takes.
What do you think should happen to your husband?
I know that he needs psychiatric help. I know that. And I know that he has committed a crime, and I know that he has to pay for that. I just pray that the judge will be merciful and see that he does get the help he needs so that he can return to society.
Okay.
19 years in the military with a spotless record, going on 38 years old, and he's never ever done anything like that. And I think that background needs to be considered.
Okay. If he were released, you would be sticking with him, is that correct?
That's right.
I don't have any other questions at this time.
An Air Force sergeant accused of attempted murder pleaded guilty to charges of kidnapping and sexual assault on 2 female hikers. Master Sergeant Stephen Skaggs pleaded guilty to 2 counts of kidnapping and sexual assault in the July 22nd attack on the hikers, one of whom was raped, shot, and stabbed. The attack occurred on Mount Lemmon near Tucson. A charge of attempted first-degree murder was dropped. He's facing a prison term of up to 84 years when he is sentenced May 8th.
Nope, I don't remember him crying. Well, he knew he was guilty. He knew he was guilty. So, no.
Yeah. Did you know that he had, I mean, I know you knew he had like knives and guns because he was a hunter.
Sure, yeah.
Did you know that he had like handcuffs?
No, I didn't know about the handcuffs. No.
A 36-year prison sentence was imposed yesterday on an Air Force Master Sergeant who raped, stabbed, and shot a woman on Mount Lemmon last summer while her friend was handcuffed to a tree. Stephen Elvis Skaggs, 38, must serve 31 years in prison before he is eligible for parole, said Superior Court Judge Gilbert Veliz. The victims of the attack were present during the sentencing. Skaggs, who was handcuffed and shackled during the hearing, turned to them and said he was sorry.
Actually, I stayed with him for 7 years after this happened. I went out and visited him every Sunday, drove out to Florence Prison. And if you got there early, you could get inside, but they only had so many tables inside. And there's one time I spent the whole night parked outside that prison so I could get inside, and darn if the person in front of me got the last table. And so I still had to sit outside 100 degrees under the Ramada. Yeah, after spending the whole night sleeping in the car outside the prison. It was just like an outside picnic area. And you would just, and you could walk around and hold hands. Yeah, but that's it. No, nothing more than, and you could, I think, a kiss goodbye, Forget it.
My friends at work, they knew they thought he worked at the prison. I didn't tell everybody he was a prisoner. I said, oh, he works, because he did. He worked, had to guard at the prison. So a lot of them just thought I was very cool at one of the guards at the prison. And then so I finally told him, no, he was a prisoner. Because it's embarrassing telling someone your husband's in for rape.
Yeah. He had a garden, so he was doing a garden. And he was, I took the memory typewriter in. They weren't allowed to have computers at the time, but he had the memory typewriter, so, he would use that. They watched a lot of TV. They ate well. I mean, he was eating better than I was eating. And no, he didn't have any complaints at all. Nobody bothered him.
So he wasn't depressed or?
No, he had made friends there. I'd met all of his friends. All the other inmates. Actually, there were a couple I really liked, a couple young boys that stole a car and made a mistake, and they were being raped and stuff in prison. I felt really bad for this. There was 2 boys in particular I really liked. In fact, I took Lorraine out, introduced her to one of them. I really liked him. And he did get out, and he straightened up. He said he did it on a dare. He didn't even need the car. He said it was stupid. And then there was another young boy that did the same thing. So there were two kids there that I really had a heart for, I would go to church with him on Sunday. That's how I got to meet the other inmates. because after church, they'd all come over and he'd introduce them and on their way back to their cell, and then they had like potlucks sometimes after church, and then I would meet some of the guys there, so I knew his friends, yeah. But, yeah, he was going to church. But then a whole lot of them were too. The women's husbands in the Bible study group, yeah, all their husbands were going to church. There's so many guys, when they go in prison, they all go to church to make it look good so they can, when they come up for a release or, parole, that looks good on their parole list. So a whole lot of them do that, and then when they get home, forget church. Yeah, it's just... they learn to play the game, sad. It's really sad. It's really sad for the women. I feel sorry for them.
Was Skaggs ever being beat up, or was he doing any beating up?
No, he was not violent at all. And a lot of people lied and said if they were there for that type of a crime, usually they didn't let the other people know. At that time, it was harder to find out what you were there for. And I met another lady who was there. Her husband, supposedly he was in for theft, but he was in for rape her daughter, And he was a preacher. And I met him, and I met his wife. And her and I became somewhat friends, and then finally the light went on in her head and she divorced him, and I didn't see her after that. She didn't come anymore.
You told me you ran a women's Bible ministry?
Yes, I did.
Describe that.
Okay, that was here in Tucson. I joined it to start with. And then after a year, they asked me if I would take it over, because the lady who was leading it didn't have the background. She was just a teacher. She didn't have anyone in prison. She felt that it would be more easier, and it would go better because I had the experience. I'd been where these women were. I was where those women were.
This was a special Bible study group just for women whose husbands were
in prison. Yeah, or sons. One of the ladies had a son in prison. And so there was about a dozen of us that would get together once a week, and then once a month we'd have a big potluck and stuff like that, And I really made some good friends there. I really liked some of those women. But you know what I found out? As the husbands came out, they went back to their old ways. They went back to the drugs. They went back to beating up the kids and beating up their wives. And several of the women that I was the closest to, they had to put in protective custody, witness protection. And then I never heard from them again. And that was hard because there was a couple that I really, really had gotten close to. One was a real sweetheart with 5 little kids, and I felt so bad for her. I really liked her. I liked all of them. We became really good friends, but then it came to the point where I couldn't encourage them to stay anymore. And that's when I started looking at, I don't want to stay. And then I left.
There's numerous letters that were sent into a judge from friends and Carol, just saying there's no way.
You're right. Oh, she didn't believe it. She couldn't even talk. She said, I have to call you back. She couldn't believe it. She said, that she never saw that side of him either. The reason they got divorced, she said they had trouble communicating.
And they had 2 kids together.
And they had 2 kids, 2 kids and 2 dogs. She took the dogs and he got the kids. And their mom did call me at one time. She was really concerned about Danny. Danny was having a really rough time. It was devastating. In fact, I felt really bad for Danny. He was getting teased at school. It was all over the newspaper, the Mount Lemmon rapist. It was all over the newspaper. Kids were giving him a bad time at school, and I let him stop going to school until it got cleared up. I said, you can go to summer school and make it up, because the kids were giving him a really, really bad time. He had a couple really good friends that were there for him, but a lot of the kids weren't, and it wasn't fair to him. And then when we found out he was guilty, that's when he went to live with his mom. And she did ask, now this was while we were still together, if the kids can go out and talk to their dad in prison. They needed closure on what happened, especially Leslie. And so they came and stayed with me for the weekend, and I took them out to the prison. But he really wouldn't answer any of their questions. He just said that was in the past. It's over. He's got his life right with God. He kept emphasizing that. And I don't know if they continued keeping in contact with him or not. I really don't know, because I didn't keep in contact with him. It's just a part of my life I just didn't want to think about anymore.
Did he ever talk to you about his childhood or any stories from his childhood that stand out?
You know, not that I remember. One time he said he got mad and he hit someone with a ball bat when he was young. That's the only thing I remember. Some boy. I don't know.
No prior arrests? Did he ever get in trouble with the law?
No. He had a clean record, very clean record. You know, he loved his mom. He'd do anything for his mom. I think his dad died fairly young, because I don't remember him ever talking about his dad. You know, but he was close with his brother. So, I don't know.
How did you break the news to Skaggs?
I told him that you better start praying, because I'm having a problem with what's going on, and I'm going to counseling, and I'm not doing well with us being together. And he was upset about that. Yeah. You know, I know there's a spiritual world out there, and sometimes people open themselves to demonic activity. I don't know how. I don't know. But I do believe that there was demonic activity in his life, that he had a split. I don't know what causes a split personality. I don't know when it happened, but I definitely believe he had a split personality. And, you know, one was good and one was obviously very evil.
Good side.
I only saw the good side. His whole family only saw the good side. You know, even afterwards, I never saw the bad side ever. I talked to him about it, and he said, you know, that he didn't have his life right with God at the time, but he did now. And this would never, ever happen again. I said, were there any others? And he said, he did admit, he says, okay, I told God I wouldn't lie to you anymore. And yeah, I had an affair with this one lady at work, and he told me about her. But as far as any other of that type of thing, he said no. When I asked him a little bit later about it, if there were any others, I wasn't comfortable with his answer. I felt he was lying. I really felt that wasn't the only one. And the more I thought about that, that started bothering me. And then 7 years, you know, into, you know, me going back and forth visiting, he told me he was coming up for parole. And there's a possibility he might be getting out. And that terrified me. I thought, I don't want to be with him. I'm afraid. And I thought, and so I started going to counseling, and my counselors, mostly at the church, said, why are you even with him? You don't have a marriage. You know, you do not have to stay. And so I really prayed about it. And then I decided I was not going anymore. I was letting it go and getting a divorce. And he was angry.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Who is this?
Hi, this is Amanda. I'm looking for a Patty Wells that was on Mount Lemmon in 1986.
Oh, it was me.
That's you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've been trying to find you for like 2 years.
That's so weird. I was thinking about that about a month and a half ago. I have to get off. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Oh, shit. Ah. Hold on. I got to find a safe place to pull over. I'm on I-10.
Okay.
Here's the exit. Damn it.
June 6th, 2025. Hi, Patty. It's Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi. Is now a good time to chat?
Sure. Is it good for you?
Yep. Right now works. This is perfect.
Okay.
Like I said, I am so excited that I found you. So my stepmother, her name was Shirley, And
Yeah.
in 1986, she was married to Stephen Skaggs. And Steve was the man who committed the crime against the two female hikers that day.
And she was married to him at the time?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh God, I'm so sorry. Oh.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. So, about 5 years ago, I started recording her. And recording her life stories. And obviously, what happened that day on Mount Lemmon was a big one.
Okay, my name is Patricia Wells, or Patty. I'm giving some testimony to my involvement of being on Mount Lemmon in July of 1986 when we went to hike with two of my other friends, Jan and Fran, and we encountered a distressed person with just absolute terror on their face. I'd gone back to the car to grab a cigarette and a beer, and I heard a gunshot and thought that was really weird. And I had seen that truck kind of just like not parked to the side, but kind of right in the more in the middle, like haphazardly parked in the road. And then that gunshot put me on alert, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I mean, it's July, why is there a gunshot? And then I see Sharon coming up with one handcuff on one hand, no shoes, and just terror in her eyes. And she told me what happened, that her and her friend were there, and this man was trying to hurt them, and he was still there. And so I got my friends and said, everybody get down. We gotta, this is horrible. And we went and just see, and we were trying to figure out where her friend was, if maybe we could intervene in some way, or just to get help right away. And of course we didn't have phones back in 1986. And I just remember, I guess, that we had got back in Jan's car, and I said, the nearest place where they'll have a phone is that the ranger station. And then after that, I really don't remember. I don't remember anything. I don't even remember talking face to face with the police at all at that point. And then I just remember, I'm sure it was much later, we were coming down, of course, because there's only one way down, that we knew they'd gotten help and stuff, and that we saw that they had apprehended him. And I actually saw him on to the side with law enforcement, and he was in handcuffs, and that they had caught him, and that he wasn't going to hurt anybody else. I didn't know what happened to them. I mean, I kept up on it as long as I was there, but I left.
And then so I never even knew that they were okay. And well, not okay, but that they, survived. She survived.
So you've lived all these years not knowing if she survived or not?
No, I did not know.
Do you still keep in contact with Jan and Fran?
No, I don't know. I would love to find them. No, we lost contact
It's very weird, but I mean, I have faith, and it's so many times I've been put in the position to help, and sometimes as a victim, but I believe in God, and God's always been there, and there's a reason. I'm just so glad they survived, and he was caught. 30 years doesn't seem like enough. I'm sorry, but I hope to God he's never hurt anyone else. And I'm sorry that you had to live with the trauma. Oh my goodness, your stepmom. Oh, I just can't even imagine. And the children, oh, I just can't even imagine. What did he say in the trial? And why didn't anybody try to get a hold of me?
Skaggs, who was handcuffed and shackled during the hearing, turned to them and said he was sorry.
I know I caused you many problems. Don't think of everyone as you think of me. Try to be happy in your life. Try to live a normal life. I won't be around.
Still to come.
Joan Marie Archer, 25, a petite blonde dog trainer, found serenity in early morning bicycle rides. So when she didn't return from an early morning ride April 27, 1986, her family knew something was wrong.
I did not know about another homicide in Tucson. I did not know if there was rumors as time went on that he was connected to some homicides or murders in Alaska. And I don't know whether that was true or not, but I did not follow him. I did not follow and see. I know he'd been caught. They said he was a Marine in an Air Force. Oh my goodness. But he could have been doing this for a long time.
And then when the policeman told me that they really believed he was a serial killer, they said a person 40 years old does not start something like this at 40 years old. This is something that starts way back when they're a lot younger. Someone doesn't at 40 years old go out and do this. That just doesn't happen.
Alaska authorities are investigating the man in connection with 18 similar cases in that state.
In fact, they said if he got off of this one, they were going to extradite him to Alaska because there was a couple cases up there that they felt he was involved in.
I guess not to fearmonger, make anybody, but you really never know who you're with. You really never know what people you love are capable of.
Can you answer some questions for me? Is it true that they tried to connect him to some homicides in Alaska? This is where the DNA would come in. What is his name? Stephen what?
Hello?
Hi, is this Steve?
Yes.